There's a reason Lake Cumberland, Kentucky is known as the houseboat capital of the world. Cumberland's 1,200 miles of shoreline and thousands of hidden coves are a boater's paradise. A perfect way to get away from it all for a little peace and quiet. But not on this weekend. Lake Cumberland State Dock was the epicenter of the first ever Lake Cumberland OSS Grand Prix, where the fastest powerboats in the world squared off for round 2 battle in the Offshore Super Series. Scorching action. The world's most skilled drivers and throttlemen on a fierce 6-mile course with 7 thrill-packed turns. You'll see it all. Million-dollar racing machines and the courageous athletes who run them on the brink of disaster, taking on 6 Gs in 5 tons worth of fiberglass and steel at the Offshore Super Series Cumberland Grand Prix. The 38-foot Team AMSOIL skater is a formidable presence in the OSS Cat Light. Driver Paul Whittier and throttleman Bob Teague share the credit and a philosophy about racing. They test obsessively.
We'll test on that course until we're 100% satisfied that we've got the best boat that we can put together with the equipment and propellers and everything that we have.
It paid off. AMSOIL had a dream season in 2008, and even added a couple of world speed records. Bob Teague is like the Cal Ripken Jr. of boat racing. He's won more championships and held more records than he can count. Teague is a respected high-speed test driver for a performance boating magazine. He owns and runs Teague Custom Marine, globally respected for its high-performance engines. Whittier is a world and national champion as well, and one of the only drivers on the circuit to drive not 1, but 2 offshore racing machines. So needless to say, it didn't sit well with Teague and Whittier when they got spanked in the OSS season opener at Biloxi, Mississippi. Maybe they traded some paint in the first turn.
Well, there's not much we can do about getting other boats run into us and stuff like that.
Maybe they hooked their 2-ton skater a little too close to the corner.
You know, we ran over a buoy and got penalized a lap, and once you do that, you're done.
Maybe they just had a bad day.
We actually did not have a good weekend in Biloxi.
Or maybe they just got smoked by Lucas Oil in stop 1 of this 7-race series. Whatever it was, Team AMSOIL wasn't about to let history repeat at Lake Cumberland. AMSOIL showed up at Cumberland with a brand new set of Mercury 525s in their canopied skater. A risky move considering new motors means finding a handle on a whole new setup. And that can take weeks.
We have several different pitches of propellers, which, you know, is like changing your gearing. And we also have different rakes of propellers that carry the boats different. So if you want to carry the boat higher, you run a little more rake. You might want to make a drive height adjustment, you know, for different turns, you know, to get more skeg in the water.
Whittier and Teague did what they always did in the face of uncertainty. They tested. AMSOIL ran more than 160 miles of Lake Cumberland testing on Saturday, the brutal equivalent of running 2 full races the day before the flag dropped.
We go out and try what we think is going to be our setup and make, you know, half a dozen adjustments through the day or more.
But would the test time be enough for the left coasters to find their stride? Stay tuned, we'll find out.
Hello everyone and welcome to Performance Boats Magazine as we bring you Offshore Super Series racing this week from Lake Cumberland, Kentucky. I'm your host Martin Sanborn with Charlie Hames. Charlie, we're on fresh water, we've got a little bit of altitude and it's gonna be flat.
It's definitely flat here in Lake Cumberland, but the big challenge is going to be 7 turns, short straightaways, entirely different than what we had in Biloxi.
Now, of course, we've also got a couple variations on the race course. First day's racing 6.1 miles, second day racing 5.1 miles. A big difference in the setup these guys have to do with 7 turns, a right-hander on the long straights.
And you know, we got 2 heats now. We got the best of 2 heats. We got to that moto action here versus the 1 long race. A lot of variables for the racers, and it's going to come into definitely a day of setup and challenges.
It's going to be spectacular on Lake Cumberland. The fans are looking forward to it. They've been promoting this thing for weeks. Let's get right to racing. Let's take a look at our players in Cat Light. The father and son team, Mike and George Stancombe in Team Lucas Oil. In PropStop.net, it is Ray Contreras and Harry Clack. In Team AMSOIL, it is Bob Teague and Paul Whittier. And rounding out the fleet in Popeyes, Will Ross and Stan Ware. As the boats line up at the east end of the racecourse, we have a green flag, and they are underway. Out in the lead, Team Amsoil with Bob Teague and Paul Whittier. Second place is Team PropStop.net. Third place is Team Lucas Oil with Mike and George Stancombe. They were the winners in Biloxi. Fourth place is Team Popeyes. This boat has not been the same since it went upside down at one of the races last year in Key West. Here comes your leaders. These guys have so much test time in this boat. They are absolutely seamless in running it. Team Amsoil in the lead, followed by PropStop.net in second place. Then the father and son team of Mike and George Stancombe in Lucas Oil. And running in fourth place, Team Popeyes Famous Fried Chicken with Stan Ware and Will Ross. All of the boats in this class are Mercury 525 power. They all have number 6 Speedmaster drives on them. They all happen to be skaters, up to 39 feet in length. As Team Amsoil continues to lead, but pushing hard from the outside, PropStop.net, they went wide, followed by Team Lucas Oil. Team Amsoil well out into the lead right now. And back to our fourth place boat, Popeyes Famous Fried Chicken, but here is our leader. Team Amsoil just beautifully going around the turn. He took the wide line. Team PropStop.net goes to the inside, goes right across the wake. PropStop.net currently trying to run down Team Amsoil. Lucas Oil running in third position. Team Amsoil, Bob Teague and Paul Whittier, they make the big sweeping turn by the dam, followed by PropStop.net here in the calm waters of Lake Cumberland. Third place is Team Lucas Oil, followed by fourth place Popeyes Famous Fried Chicken with Ware and Ross. But here is our leaders. They come towards the start-finish line to take the checkered flag and the win in Lake Cumberland. Team Amsoil with Bob Teague and Paul Whittier.
You definitely redeemed yourself after Biloxi, Bob. You got to be happy.
We did bring the boat back to California and change the motors and go through all the systems and made sure it was reliable. You know, when it feels good and you can just drive it down the freeway, well, that's, you know, Paul makes it seem pretty easy, really, you know.
Team Amsoil finishing in first place in Lake Cumberland.
Performance Boats Magazine is brought to you by Dave's Custom Boats.